just want all you want to do is just ward. Okay, so this is a big mistake where you go rejuvenation bead instead of potions. I'm not sure if this is
Oh,
intended or not.
I was just testing it out once. I've never done
Okay.
that before.
Yeah, so usually you would just go
Yeah,
potions.
3 potions, typically. But this time I just wanted to try it and
Hmm.
see if it was better. And it was kind of bad. I was low health for a while.
Yeah, because it's not worth it in the long run. So here's the concept that I think it's important to understand. One potion in the early game is the equivalent of around like 400 gold, which is like a ruby crystal, because ruby crystals 400 gold gives around like 150
50.
HP.
Oh, I see.
So a health potion in the early game, since you don't need to build that ruby crystal into anything. This 25 gold or 35 gold to be more accurate is the same benefit as like a ruby crystal because you're laning, so you do have time to heal up. As long as those potions are of use, they're always going to be better in the laning phase. But later on in the game, in like team fights, you're not going to be needing potions as much. That's when you don't buy potions.
Okay.
So like when you go back and you have the option to go, should I start building into my face of the mountain and get a sapphire crystal, but I won't be able to, I mean a ruby crystal, but I won't be able to get potions, then you'd rather get potions because one ruby crystal only equals one potion, which and 3 potions equals 3 ruby crystals.
Okay, so okay. If I don't have enough for Ruby Crystal, just get potions.
And this is just for early game.
Oh, this was a ridiculous game. I think this one, the Kog'Maw carried everything. I think it was a Smurf.
Okay, so let's take. So here you get grabbed. The first mistake that you made was that you didn't get bush advantage by going into the bush over here and then warding this enemy bush. So because since they have a Blitzcrank, you should have taken note that they had a Blitzcrank.
Oh, so instead of helping with the leash, just run up to here
Yeah,
first.
and in
Okay.
addition, well, not with the leash. You always want to leash first. Then you still have time to come into lane. And another important factor is that you don't necessarily want to be using your relic stacks on the first wave. Do you happen to know why?
To use it for the cannon minion?
No, incorrect. So the first wave, if you clear it in a 2v2 lane, you won't get level 2 advantage. Whenever you have level 2 advantage, you obviously want to go all in because you do have an extra spell on them. So you want to save your relic stacks for the second wave because after you clear the first wave and the second wave hits, then if you kill the first 3 minions in the front of the second wave, that's when you get level 2, and then you just go in. So you want to use those relic stacks for the second wave so you can get that level 2 advantage and
Okay.
surprise them with it.
Okay.
And
That's
in
a good.
addition, since you're full HP, it doesn't really heal you at this point. So yeah, in this situation, instead of walking up to hit a minion, you would want to go into the bush, and then you would, in your own bush, and then you would ward the enemy bush.
But how would I ward that bush if the blitz is?
Because
I saw
if
the blitz
you,
go into that bush, so there's.
yeah, so putting yourself in front of your minion wave here doesn't help your situation. And there's another mistake as well. You're putting
Should have backed.
yourself in a 2v1 situation. See how Lucian's back here?
Mm-hmm.
So what you wanted to do was you just wanted to stun the Blitzcrank and
Walk
kite
out.
back.
Okay.
So this loses you around a good half of your HP.
Mm-hmm.
So that was inefficient trading. You didn't consider the fact that your AD carry was not in position to back you up, even if you were just focus the Jinx, and you didn't consider putting yourself in a 2v1 situation. And here you stay low due to not having potions.
Yeah.
So this first mistake that you made, just put yourself behind in the game already. So it's important to play consistent throughout all the games so that you have less room to make mistakes on your further plays throughout like the next 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because see how they get level 2 advantage now? If you had this level 2 advantage and you were healthier, you would most likely be able to pick up a kill or two.
So earlier when that Blitzcrank was in the
Mhm.
bush, I don't think there was a safe way for me to drop a ward in that bush.
There was, because if you had positioned yourself in the bush and then you just warded on the other side, if he were to try and grab you, you would have vision of the bush ahead of time, so that Lucian would have more time to react and you could have just stunned him and left.
Oh, I see. So you
And
just
in
okay.
addition, just what happened afterwards was the bigger mistake where you chased the Jinx. So if he had grabbed you, that doesn't matter all that much, because if you stun him and Lucian comes on the Blitzcrank as well, then it's just a 2v2 trade. It's just a normal trade.
Oh, okay.
But since you chased towards the Jinx, it
Jinx,
made it
yeah,
so that Lucian was too far back.
to do anything.
Hmm. And one thing to keep note of is that every single little trade counts, because that extra HP that you're losing, or that you're not getting on the enemy, puts yourself in a more defensive position where you can't engage as Leona. So for the last 3 minutes of around last 2 minutes of the lane, you weren't
Mhm.
able to play aggressive at all when you should
Yeah.
be trying to. So
Here
Blitzcrank
I
is
didn't
certainly
know
good.
if Blitz was still on lane,
Yeah.
so I didn't go in. I assumed he was in the bush for a long time.
And that's when you would want to have either your AD carry or yourself to ward the bush.
Walk.
Mhm.
Okay. But I think no, Lucian had to trinket it.
Okay, so here you missed an opportunity for a kill. At exactly, so you always want to look for those 2v1 situations, because numbers just win fights. So in this position, see how far away Jinx is from his Blitzcrank?
Listen. Oh, I should have went on Blitz.
Hmm.
Oh.
So around right here, see how she's this far away? It'd be a 2v1 on his Blitzcrank, and since he's already at around half HP, he missed his hook. If you had E'd him at this position, he would have been dead. He doesn't have flash either. So right here still, look at, this is around like around like 3 seconds away from the fight. So within that 3 second time period, you can win a huge advantage on this Blitzcrank and get him really low and even kill him.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes. Okay. So you managed to escape. So this is another good situation that you missed over here. So see how they're all on this side and Jinx is on this side? You
Yeah.
can even run down to this bush and try and escape the tower dive if they do try and attempt to tower dive you, or you
Yeah.
could just go on the Jinx.
Oh.
So for
Just go straight on the
example,
Jinx.
at around here, this timing,
Uh-huh.
her HP is only at 330. You can E on top of her and then attempt to kill her.
Right
Because
there.
the Lucian still had heal, you would have been fine, and you did have enough mana for a stun at this point. And if you remember from the earlier moments where you could have killed the Jinx
Yeah.
and the Blitzcrank, then this would have been a totally different event that just occurred. So every single little play leads up to the next. Because the Blitzcrank would have been alive in that situation, and there could have been less casualties, more casualties on their side. You don't know for sure, but you do know that you want to look for the best plays possible.
Actually, after this, there is a replay I want to go over. Hmm.
So I'm going to pause here
Mhm.
so that I can write some notes for you on the early game.
So when you want me to use Zenith Blade, you want me to E and then hit Q before I actually finish the distance covered?
It depends on what situation you would want to use that in, or you can use an auto attack Q reset as well if you need the extra damage.
Oh.
Because an auto Q is approximately the same length of time as a normal Q if you can cancel the auto animation correctly.
Well, I should learn how to do that.
Yeah, we can go over that. Okay, I'm resuming the replay. Let's see.
Am I playing too far back?
And the reason why you have to play this far back is because of the earlier mistakes. You weren't able to establish a lead and an advantage in the early game since you weren't paying attention to key positioning and your own positioning, which put yourself in unfavorable trades. So, for example, if you were able to pick up on some kills earlier on, then you would have more confidence to go in later. And here's another example of one thing that we did mention already, where you went for the boots, the Targon's brace, which is an upgrade, and cloth armor, and no potions. So you should have went at least 2 to 3 potions here,
Instead of the cloth armor, get potions.
or even instead of the boots, get potions.
So you would prioritize
Yeah,
cloth armor over boots.
Yep. The little boots isn't as much of an impact as until after you upgrade it into the bigger one, which costs around 800 gold. So in the early game, in the laning phase, you're only traveling within a small area. So the combat stats are more important than the movement speed stats. But after you start roaming like this Blitzcrank is, like he's going up the river, down the river, he's relying on his time management so that he can gank, then get back to lane. Then in this situation, if you're like a roaming support and you have the lead and you're allowed to roam, then Boots is a good investment.
How would you time the roaming without losing XP? Because I've done that before, but you're usually severely under leveled.
Okay, so the timing with the roaming is you would want the wave to be pushed in to the enemy tower, then you would want to roam. The reason why this works is because while your wave is under enemy fire, under his tower, and his wave is crashing at around this point too, this makes it so that for example, the blue minions can't kill the red minions. So the red minions survive. So after your gank and you come back, the red minions are around this point.
Oh, I see. Because they're attacking the tower.
hmm So here you do miss an opportunity of a 2v1 favorable trade once again, where you can Zenith Blade on the Blitzcrank, auto Q, and then the
Oh,
Lucian would
so
go in, and this be a 2v1 trade.
okay. So cut him off.
hmm
Okay.
So that would probably put him at around 40% HP or so.
Mhm.
And then you would be able to use the advantage that you gathered from that trade to win the upcoming fight. So see how now they're both at full HP? You would always want to have the advantage before you go in, or if you want to go in at an even standpoint, you have to understand the positioning of your AD carry and the enemy AD carry, as well as the enemy support, so you can get the better positioning. Because, for example, if you go in and they just dodge your positioning and go for the Lucian, then you're in trouble. Or if they just CC lock you and zone the Lucian at the same time, kiting you, then now Lucian and you can't deal damage to the same priority target, and they can just prioritize killing you. So for example, here's another opportunity to go in, which is about a second earlier from this point where he was where my cursor is, and you could have eat on him. Lucian's in range to auto him because he does have a dash. Jinx doesn't have a dash, and you'd be able to take another favorable trade on the support. So you do go in, but this is around 3 to 4 seconds later, so he's not as far out from his tower now. And you weren't able to use the auto Q canceling
No, I
animation.
didn't know
So,
about that.
So due to not taking advantage of that situation earlier, you're
Mhm.
reducing your impact on the game overall because in solo queue you always want to have a positive impact on the game. You would always want to have that over being a neutral. Like so in this position you're 0 0 0 versus the enemy support, which is 0 0 0. So
Mhm.
this is a neutral impact on the game. So you don't have as much of an effect on the game as your other teammates. So you're pretty much relying on them to pull their weight. And that's not the correct mindset if you're trying to rank up in the solo queue environment.
Yeah, I think you're right. The previous games I was trying to initiate, and
hmm
I think I missed like 9 out of 10 Zenith blades. So I
hmm
think my
So
confidence
in
was
like
gone. Yeah.
yeah, so after we were viewing those opportunities, did you notice how each one of those opportunities, the Blitzcrank wasn't attempting to dodge your Zenith Blade at all?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
So you could have killed him at any one of those moments. Okay, so here's a mistake of a roam. Let's take a look at this again. Okay, so the lane isn't in a favored position right now. It is pushed in, but you're looking at the lane that you're trying to go to. This isn't a favorable position for the Syndra because she's on this side of the lane. She's not even in the lane herself. She doesn't have ward coverage in the bottom side, so you don't know if like the Rengar is waiting here to ambush you. Zed can kill you too on this side. And if you're not able to get something out of this gank, then you're just spending dead time, pretty much. So if we watch this again, this puts your AD carry in a 2v1 situation, so that's not good. And here you're trying to gank the Zed, but see how his wave is in this position? If he were to try and help you kill the Zed, he would lose about 100 to 200 gold in one level of EXP. That's not worth it for a risky play like this because Zed, in the first place, if Syndra were to come, it's not a guaranteed kill. So, because he still does have his W. Usually Zed is most vulnerable when he doesn't have his W. But here, so you missed the stun earlier on. You could have stunned in the bush, and you are tunnel visioning because you don't realize that you don't have backup. And he can just run. He actually attempts to fight you at first, and here you use a crucial summoner spell that can eventually help you win a fight in the next 3 minutes. So we'll see how that plays. And then he just runs. So exhaust down for you, and that might be a really important summoner spell that you may have needed in the next 3 minutes. Alright, so here's an example right now where you could be using exhaust to a much more beneficial fight. So the better play here would have been to peel off the Lucian, go on the Rengar, instead of initiating on this Jinx. Because you don't have the damage to instantly kill the Jinx, and you'd rather keep your AD carry alive. So if we go back to that moment, you'll see how you would have been able to save your Lucian, and the Jinx would have died to your team anyway. Okay, so at this moment you notice that Rengar is coming. The first step is to exhaust. If you had exhaust, which you would have, it would have been to exhaust the Rengar immediately to reduce his damage at this point, and see how you're Zenith Blading on the Jinx. You should have been Zenith Blading on the Rengar, and then comboing him with a stun and an ulti. And it would have saved him, and it would have allowed the hook to miss as well, since you would have been in front of the blitz. So overall, you guys do take the advantage, but there was more that you could have done in that situation.
In that, should I have even Zenith Blade? I didn't.
Yes, you should have Zenith Bladed the Rengar in while he
I
was
meant the Blitz.
on the blitz. It was fine because after that situation, your team was just there to clean up. So the main goal was prioritizing saving the Lucian.
So in that, okay, I got it. Get on sense.
So here you do get the, let's see, the Mountain Dragon. So yeah, the Mountain Dragon wasn't really too much of an investment, but it doesn't give you that much of an advantage either. Here, this is another crucial mistake where it ends up giving the enemy team free gold. Where you had the dragon, you could have just backed off and recalled, but instead
I'm supporting the Syndra.
that was the main mistake there. So if we go
just
back,
let them die. Just walk away.
so if it's too late, then you just want to leave yourself, because in this situation it's already too late. He's dead because Zed's cutting off his escape route, and it's 3v1. So it'd be a 4v1. If you come with the HP that you are at right now, it just gives them another opportunity to pick up 300 more gold. And I believe that the Shyvana may have died as well. Let's see. Yeah, so overall, we didn't need to give them an extra 600 gold. And you could have even played the role of the shot caller and pinged the Syndra off of that situation. Okay, so I'm going to write some notes from 6 minutes to now. Okay, so let's continue. Do you have any questions?
No, this is pretty informative. I'll probably just spam support after this. I don't know if I'll play jungle.
Alright. Okay, so here's an example where he actually dodges your Zenith Blade. So we'll watch that again. Okay, so here's a neat trick to landing skill shots more efficiently. You would want to land the skill shot when they're in the middle of an auto animation. So for example, watch the auto animations carefully. So like here, so see how he's in the middle of an auto attack? He has to stay in place to auto, and you can predict where he's going to stop to auto this minion. So every time he's going to go for a minion around this HP, or if like say the minion
Oh,
had
to
100
blast it.
HP, then he would have to walk in around this area around the minion to get in range to auto attack it, and you would want to predict where he's going to walk, and then you would land the Zenith Blade. So here, you go for the Zenith Blade at this point. So you already missed your opportunity. Your opportunity was missed about 2 seconds ago when he was in the middle of that auto attack. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let me write that down. And like not just auto animations count for this technique, but skill animations as well. And if they are next to a wall, that also prevents them from juking into the wall, so you can predict that they're going to continue to go straight next to the wall. And then you can estimate where you have to land the skill shot. So here you get a good stun, and then the Q. Okay, so here's an example where you still use your Q while they're in the stun animation. So it's only stacking the stuns. It's not utilizing the most amount
So
of stun you would want to
so wait
keep them
half
in.
a second and
No,
wait
you
for
would
it.
want to auto Q.
Okay.
Does that make sense? When you
Yeah.
auto Q, that's using the half a second with for doing extra damage, and you're also getting the stun at the correct timings. Okay, so here there's a mistake where you continue to chase the Blitzcrank, you take too much damage, and you have to back off.
Thought Lucian would follow up.
Okay, so you do take the tower here, which is good.